Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this beautiful gray sky day on this, the amazing third day of Changemaker and Residency Week. Hopefully you're supposed to be here. If not, stick around. You're probably going to learn something amazing. Good afternoon. Oh yeah, some people are already rocking the chat. Let's open up the chat window. Beautiful. All right, as everyone is piling into this Zoom call, I'm going to paste a link into the chat. Hello, hello, hello. I see lots of awesome chat action going on. So I'm going to paste a link in there, guys. If you can click on this link, it's going to take you to Mural. It's going to open up a web page, and it's going to take you to Mural, which is a digital whiteboard space where we're all going to be hanging out and working today. Click on the link. I'm just going to keep saying this again and again as people are piling into this call. It's supposed to be a full house today. I feel like I don't have any music queued up. That's okay. We'll just ramble on over top of everything. Good afternoon. Hello, everybody. I'm pasting a link into the chat here in Zoom. As you're landing into the call, please open up the chat window and click on the link. That's going to take you, open up a web browser window with the Mural space that we're going to be in today. Mural, for those of you who do not know, is essentially a giant whiteboard, a virtual whiteboard space where we're going to be hanging out and interacting and engaging via sticky notes and some other fun things like that today. I highly encourage you guys, if you want, to throw your cameras on. We love seeing your smiling faces. It really helps everybody as facilitators to see some cameras on. It's okay, I understand if your bandwidth can't handle it. I get it. Admit, we're admitting everybody. Oh yeah, we're filling up now. We got 21 people. Again, as people are landing into the call here, open up the chat portion of your Zoom call. I'm pasting a link in there. It's a Mural link, a link to a website that's going to open up a giant whiteboard space. That's where we're going to be hanging out. When you land into Mural, click on step 1. Here, I'll summon everybody so you can see what's going on. So come right to where I just sucked everybody in and double click to make a sticky note. Click once in it to write and try to answer that first question there up at the top. Question says, what do you think change making is? Double click to make a sticky note. Zoom into the space to get a little bit closer. That's the power of Mural, is actually getting in, zooming in to work, not making things bigger. So if you're having a hard time reading the size of your text, zoom into the space using the plus and minus in the bottom of the bottom right-hand corner. So the way, oh, there's lots of people landing in here. It is a full one today. So as you're landing in this call,
60 people.
60 whoa, it's filling up
with us today.
Again, sorry for the people who got here first. You're going to hear me say this about 200 more times. As you're landing in this call, into the Zoom call, welcome. Open up the chat portion of your Zoom call. I'm pasting a link in there. The link is to where we will all be working today. It's a virtual whiteboard space called Mural. Click on the link, open up the web page, and get yourself in there and try to answer that very first question there. I'll summon you so you can all kind of see what's going on. So you double click to create a sticky note, click once to write in there. Oh, did somebody have their hand up, or was that just like a cool thing? What happened there? People are landing in here. Oh my goodness, it's getting full. 34 people. I think we might break the internet today. As everyone else is landing in here, I'm going to keep pasting that link. Click on the link, get into Mural, and try to just play around a little bit. Double click, create a sticky note, zoom into the space. Really important, you can hold spacebar down on your keyboard to help you move around the area, as well as you can also click on the hand in the bottom left-hand corner to move around. So if you can picture Mural like a giant whiteboard space, that is where we're going to be. Get yourself set up nice and comfortably. The way the session is going to run today, everybody, is that you're going to hear the awesome voices of Kate and Laura as they facilitate through the power of Zoom. You will hear their voices. I want you to minimize the Zoom window so you can still hear them talk, and have your Mural window big and open, because that's where they're going to be speaking to. That's where we're going to be interacting today. So that's, in a perfect world, you would have 2 monitors or a setup where you could have the Zoom call open and the Mural open on another space, but I realize that's not, not for everybody. So the best way to handle it is to minimize and close all the crap on your computer. Have the Zoom call kind of shrunk down so you can still hear it, but have the mural space big and open in front of you, and get in there. Yeah, I see lots of sticky notes, a lot of anonymous animals interacting. I'm going to keep pasting that link in there, everybody. Admit, lots of people still flying in here. Again, in the chat portion of Zoom, I've pasted a link. Click on the link, it will open up a web page. That web page is Mural. It's a digital whiteboard space that we will be. I am bad with Mural. That's okay. You'll be a Mural ninja by the end of this, Sandra. Don't be afraid. We got it. So get in there, zoom in. The power of Mural is the ability to zoom in and out. So if you're having a hard time reading your sticky note, zoom in closer. Don't make the sticky note bigger. The size and the scale of the workshop and the way we're interacting has already been established by the elements that are already in the mural. So get in there. There's a little navigation map in the bottom left right-hand corner. That helps you kind of zoom in and out of the space, as well as clicking the little hand icon allows you to move around. You can also hold the space bar and click around. Yes, somebody found the draw tool amazing. Maybe they were at the visual thinking workshop we did a couple days ago. I see lots of pens and drawings happening. This is amazing. For people who are just landing, I'll summon again, get everyone kind of centered, zoomed in here where we're supposed to be. I'm going to keep pasting that link in here. What do we got? 302. That's awesome. 39 people plus the 3 of us, 36 people we got in the call, guys. Looking good. All right, one more fun little way to interact today. In the bottom of your Zoom window, how many of you guys know where the reactions button is? It's a smiley face with a plus symbol on it. If you can click on that button and maybe give me a thumbs up. Laura found it. I hope so. There we go. We got a whole sea of thumbs up coming. Amazing. Yes. Okay. Oh, a good chunk of you guys know how to use the reaction buttons. That's super helpful. I understand not having your video on. At least it lets us know that you're hearing what we're talking about and understanding the instructions for what's going on today. That's beautiful. I'm going to keep pasting the link in there a few more times. I'm going to let this go for a couple more minutes, and then we're going to jump right into it. We got a pretty tight timeline for all the amazing content that we're going to cover today. Yes, everyone's rocking the pen tool. Yes, makes me so happy seeing all this crazy activity inside Mural. One more little tip: it does get kind of crazy, especially when we have 40 people zipping around in there. You can also turn off the ability to see everyone else's cursors. If you just hover over your own little icon at the bottom there, you have the option to don't show me cursors. That's super important if you get easily distracted, kind of like I do. So that's okay. So get in there, double click to create a sticky note, type in there what you think change making is. That's an amazing way to just kind of get warmed up, get familiar with the space. Thanks, that helped a lot. No problem. Yeah, don't show cursors. Yeah, we got that feedback a couple weeks ago. I don't know, we've been running and using Mural for months now, and that's the first time it's come up, and it's been super valuable. So again, any feedback we can get to make this experience and these interactions a little more streamlined and clean is super, super important. Double click, make a sticky note, click once to write inside it, and allow a little bit of a delay between what you're typing and what's showing up, just because there's 40 of us on a call and all in this Mural, and we got our Zoom open, and who knows what everyone's bandwidth is like. So allowing for a little bit of that lag and delay might help you kind of adjust to the speed in which this technology works. Yes, there's crazy scribbles going on all over this space. Desire positive change, change making, and new and popular to help people in life. Yes, someone found the icons. Someone put some pictures in there. Oh yeah, you guys are like ninjas. I feel like you must have attended some of our other workshops before. Okay, I'm going to paste the link one more time. I feel like the numbers have kind of dropped off a bit. Perfect. We got 39 people. That seems to be about right for the sold out sessions. So I'm going to introduce myself at a super high level. First of all, welcome to the workshop today. My name is Adam. I'm the community animator for the Center for Changemaking and Social Innovation. And yes, that is a real job title. I am here to help co-pilot this amazing session with Laura and Kate, who are going to blow your minds with some empathy and self-care information today. I'll do a quick little plug for the center, and then I'm going to pass the mic off to these amazing hosts. what the heck is the Center for Changemaking and Social Innovation? Well, at the Center for Changemaking and Social Innovation, we are your coaches and guides for building out your change-making journey at Georgian. Everything from hosting workshops and events, just like this one, and giving you access to social innovation tools and resources, just like Mural. We are here to help you figure out how your studies can be applied to a purpose that involves change-making. So look for Growler's cousin, Charlie, which is that orange bear. He's probably wearing a helmet kind of like this one. And he is a good representation of, to let you know that change-making is happening around. I'm going to do, I think, a double high five. Can both of you guys high five me, Laura and Kate? Am I on both sides? Are you on the other? All right, cool. I'm going to pass it off to you guys. I'm going to be here running tech support. I'm going to monitor the chat. So if you have any questions, shoot them in the chat. I'll help you out best I can. These lovely ladies are going to be driving the ship. And if you have any questions, throw them in the chat, raise your hand, throw on your camera, and be prepared to learn some awesome stuff. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Adam, and welcome everybody. We're so excited to be here with all of you today in this virtual space. Just a quick run through of what we're going to do today. So we kind of have started a bit of a welcome and check-in. Thank you for that, Adam. So continue to answer what you think change making is in the mural space. We're then going to talk about what empathy and self-care is, and then we're going to get into a pretty cool activity and then bring it all back together for an awesome debrief around some intention cards. So really excited to spend this next hour with you. Before we get started, my name is Kate Henry. I am the Mental Health and Wellbeing Coordinator. So I work for the Mental Health and Wellbeing Strategic Plan here at Georgian. It's a big, really fancy title for basically us letting you all know that mental health and well-being is a priority at Georgian. And by learning more about mental health and really just treating ourselves and each other with compassion, understanding, and kindness, we can all cultivate a culture of empathy, connection, equity, respect. And we do that through running workshops, collaborating with other folks, like I am here collaborating with the Center for Changemaking and Social Innovation, and training opportunities, lots of good stuff. And I'm gonna let Laura introduce herself as well.
Yeah, amazing, Kate. Thank you so much. So yes, if you haven't picked up on it, my name is Laura Koza. I work for the Center for Changemaking and Social Innovation. I see a few familiar faces from workshops over the past couple of days, so welcome and welcome back as we continue to grow and learn as changemakers together. My job at the center, basically, I have the pleasure of empowering and inspiring students, staff, and faculty to understand how they are change makers. And then I get to work to build up those skills and mindsets of being a change maker. So the goal of this session, as Kate said, is our goal is just to have a really collaborative conversation about empathy and self-care. As much as I believe my voice has such a beautiful tone, I think you will all get really, really bored if you hear just Kate and my voice for the next hour. So please, please, please feel free to engage however you feel comfortable, whether that's coming off mute or engaging in the mural or the chat. We will be making sure to monitor them all. One little sort of rule of engagement that I like to offer is if you're going to come off mute, I highly recommend you use this reaction, which is a little hand wave. It's one that we can see really easily, and if you want to speak, we will absolutely make the space and silence for you to do so. So today, awesome, thank you so much. So today we have the pleasure of debunking this concept of empathy. So empathy is one of those things that we sort of all kind of know, we can sort of all kind of feel, but we don't always talk about the language and tools behind empathy to practice it well. So my first sort of question, my first engagement for all of you today is I'm going to summon you to follow me here. You will see I've asked the question, what is empathy? So I would love for you to grab one of those sticky notes in there. Make a sticky note by double clicking anywhere. Can you do it anywhere, Adam, or beside a sticky note? Anywhere. I think that's my most reading.
Kind of close to another sticky note.
Yeah, cool. See, Adam's just the best. He's our ultimate co-pilot extraordinaire. And it looks like you guys are all figuring out the sticky notes, which is fantastic. So I just want to hear, what do you think empathy is? Being able to help someone, I love that. Empathy is taking the effort to help someone in need, no matter what their situation may be. Awesome. To share others' feelings. Yeah, you guys are amazing. Personally, I love watching all the mice come in and watching everybody's reactions and answers happen. It's always really energizing, as much as we can in this virtual space, to watch everyone come together and answer a single question. So thank you all. I see we've got some also in the chat to be able to relate with other situations, understanding other people's feelings. That's huge. Being able to connect with someone on an emotional level. Man, you guys got this. You don't even need this workshop. So what I will offer on top of empathy being all of these things, empathy is a way to connect. And I'm going to take a minute to share a video that I really love. And what I want to offer is, the first time I watched this video, I remembered it being absolutely groundbreaking, and this video has actually, for me, sparked a lot of personal and professional research into really using language well and understanding what empathy is. So what I'm going to ask is that you sort of take the minute to just soak this video in. It's only about 2.5 minutes, so I promise it's not too long or overbearing, but sort of soak it in and really let yourself answer the question, what are my gut reactions to this video? Bear with me as I share. I'm getting so much better in this virtual with this tech stuff, but still a process. Can everybody see my screen? Yeah, and then the next tip will be if everyone can hear the video. Perfect.
So what is empathy, and why is it very different than sympathy? Empathy fuels connection. Sympathy drives disconnection. Empathy, it's very interesting. Teresa Wiseman is a nursing scholar who studied professions, very diverse professions where empathy is relevant, and came up with 4 qualities of empathy. Perspective taking, the ability to take the perspective of another person or recognize their perspective as their truth. Staying out of judgment, not easy when you enjoy it as much as most of us do. Recognizing emotion in other people and then communicating that. Empathy is feeling with people. And to me, I always think of empathy as this kind of sacred space when someone's kind of in a deep hole and they shout out from the bottom and they say, I'm stuck, it's dark, I'm overwhelmed. And then we look and we say, hey, I'm down. I know what it's like down here, and you're not alone. Sympathy is, ooh, it's bad, no, you want a sandwich? Empathy is a choice, and it's a vulnerable choice, because in order to connect with you, I have to connect with something in myself that knows that feeling. Rarely, if ever, does an empathic response begin with at least. And we do it all the time, because you know what? Someone just shared something with us that's incredibly painful, and we're trying to silver lining it. I don't think that's a verb, but I'm using it as one. We're trying to put the silver lining around it. So I had a miscarriage. At least you know you can get pregnant. I think my marriage is falling apart. At least you have a marriage. John's getting kicked out of school. At least Sarah is an A student. But one of the things we do sometimes in the face of very difficult conversations is we try to make things better. If I share something with you that's very difficult, I'd rather you say, I don't even know what to say right now, I'm just so glad you told me. Because the truth is, rarely can a response make something better. What makes something better is connection.
Always, every time. I think I get it, and at the end, does that big loud noise. Awesome. So this video for me was totally groundbreaking when I first watched it, because it really helped me put language behind some of these things that we inherently feel. And I see that the chat is really blowing up, which is fantastic, about, yeah, being able to feel other people's emotions and connect with them. Absolutely. And I even feel sort of I see objective versus subjective, which, yeah, I might argue a little bit, but I love the thought there around, like, to me, they're both reactions to another human being. So what I would love, if you don't mind, is if you could just in the chat, what are gut reactions to this video? When you watched this video, was there anything that really like stood out or felt right or wrong, or just gut reactions? Yeah, there's a huge emotional attachment, which I really appreciate. Falling into the dark hole, that's huge. Being able to relate to someone's situation because you've been there before. I love that. Most people are sympathetic, not empathetic. That's a huge one. And I remember watching this video and then being really frustrated by the concept of sympathy cards. When I sort of felt like they should have been empathy cards, which is a really interesting one. Trying to work together to get through a problem together, that's huge. It's about being collaborative and coming together. Silver linings don't help. Yeah, I agree. I love that visual explanation of empathy and that like sort of symbolism of going into that dark hole and joining someone in that dark hole. It's really, really beautiful. Yeah, I love these things. Really felt good to know the real meaning of empathy. I really appreciate that too. The thing that I would really like to offer, the first time I watched this video, I immediately felt incredibly guilty for all of the times that I had provided a sympathetic response. I immediately went, oh my gosh, yesterday I said at least, or sort of 2.5 weeks ago, I sort of explained my situation instead of listened to someone else's. And I immediately sort of held on to all of that guilt of how I was showing up with sympathy opposed to empathy. What I would offer, what I would invite is to release some of that guilt if you are able, or if that resonates with you. Recognizing that we can only know what we know. We don't know what we don't know. So actually, all that we are doing today is trying to build up those skills, build up those mindsets, and build up that toolkit and that resource shelf to say, this is how I do it a little bit better next time, rather than passing judgment on how you did it in the past. So that would be the mindset that I would encourage everybody to have these conversations with, is how do we do it just a little bit better next time? And how do we sort of flex those muscles and build that toolkit around empathy and self-care? Yeah, you have to understand but you have to protect yourself. Hey, Sandra, I might actually use that as a really beautiful segue over to Kate to talk about self-care. One of the comments in here, Kate, was you have to be empathetic, but you also have to understand how to protect yourself. So
I love that. And I think that ties in self-care beautifully, because in order to protect ourselves, we really do need to practice self-care. So similar to what you all just did for what is empathy, I'm hoping that you can all let me know what you think self-care is, or what self-care means for you. So you can just put it on sticky notes, and then I'll just give people a couple of minutes to put some notes in there. Awesome. I saw someone writing, finding time for yourself, putting yourself first, putting your own well-being first, putting your own needs first, realizing you matter. That's great. Taking time for yourself. Time is coming up a lot. And I think that's so key, because I think the one thing with self-care that prevents people from maybe practicing self-care is time. So recognizing that it's important to make time for yourself is a really big step with self-care. To help others, but not at the cost of our own protection. That's great. Rest, take care of others, being able to take care of yourself as much as you take care of others, keeping yourself above things, putting your needs first. These are great. So for me, self-care and how we talk about self-care here at Georgian is taking action to improve and maintain one's own physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. So we like to look at self-care from a holistic lens. And why we like to do that is because it really helps connect our mind and our body. And when we look at the different types of self-care, which is down at the bottom, a little bit down in the mural map, you'll see we have physical, emotional, social, and spiritual, and really different kind of self-care activities that you can participate in. So you'll notice when you're reading those that sleep could really fit under a lot of those categories, or meditation under spiritual can really fit under a lot of those categories. So I think it's really important to recognize that when you're practicing something to engage in self-care, you are really ultimately ticking boxes everywhere, because spiritual, when you think about it, it's really what connects you and what you feel drawn to. So maybe it's walking or spending time in nature or practicing kindness or spending time together. Like spiritual is really whatever you want it to be, so it can fit in any other bucket. So I think what I really want to just drive home here is that if you can look at it in a really holistic approach rather than in buckets, it might help alleviate this sense of not having enough time to practice self-care, which you'll learn that as you learn what self-care activities are best for you and what you need, you probably are already doing some things to practice self-care without even knowing it. And you'll learn that it may not take a lot of time out of your day to practice self-care. So that's just a little bit on the types of self-care. And I liked that. It was a good segue from what one of you said with putting your own needs first and really just at the cost of our own protection. So I don't have a video, but I do have a video I would like to give you a link to that you can watch on your own time, because it is 7 minutes long. It's a really cool video from a student's perspective. So I think it's something that you all might be able to connect to. So I just put the link there in the chat for all of you. But this picture here that you can see under what is self-care, you can see the person with putting the oxygen mask on and then putting the oxygen mask on the child that's next to them. For those of you that have traveled, you might recognize this from when you were on a plane. And really, the student, this is just kind of a bit of a teaser of what the student talks about, but her direct quote, and I'm going to read it for you here, is that the oxygen mask is a lot like self-care. We all have friends and family members that we want to be empathetic towards, but if we don't take care of ourselves and we don't put on the oxygen mask first, we don't have the capacity to help those people that we care so much about. This tells us that it's not selfish to practice self-care, it's necessary. And Laura loves this notion of taking back the word selfish, and really just that it's okay to be selfish sometimes. And there's a lot of negative stigma and stuff around the word selfish. So we encourage you to take that back, and I'll let Laura expand on that if she wants to. But when we're looking at the oxygen mask from a perspective of empathy and self-care, that I don't want you to look at it as a sense of survival. I want you to look at that oxygen mask as that is the empathy you're giving yourself. That is you engaging in self-care activities for yourself so that you can give more of yourself. So you know the quote, you can't pour from an empty cup. This is kind of like another way of saying that that it is necessary for you to take care of yourself in order to really be the best version of yourself, and also to be there for other people that you care about. So that's my tangent on self-care. I'll let you chime in, Laura, if you want to add anything, because you have lots of great insights as well.
Thanks, Kate. No, it's so perfectly placed, and I think it's so eloquently said. The reason why we spend so much time sort of marrying the two of empathy and self-care is that concept of what does empathy towards self look like? And how do we promote that love inward so we can give that love and connection outward? The only thing I will offer, Kate did such a beautiful job sort of outlining those, is that the concept of self-indulgence versus self-care. So when we talk about maybe a bubble bath and a glass of wine, potentially a wonderful self-care opportunity, also potentially a self-indulgence opportunity if you're using that bubble bath as a way to divert yourself from doing homework, or so there's lots of different ways we can look at self-care. And when I invite you to think about your self-care, I invite you to think of the intention behind it. So what is the intention behind the self-care? Is it to sort of give yourself some time to connect with your physical, emotional, social, or spiritual self? Or is it to avoid and or indulge in things that we are looking for an excuse to do so? So the reason why I say that is because when we think about self-care and we think about empathy coming in, we need to know what gives us that power and what gives us that, that sense of sort of love and connection coming inward. So really taking some time to debunk those concepts and recognize them is highly important. The reason why we like to marry empathy and self-care, if it's not obvious, is that empathy inward. When we look at empathy, we know Teresa Wiseman's work, it's on the mural, and Brene Brown in the video we just watched, talk to them. There's 4 perspectives of empathy. So there's perspective taking, staying out of judgment, recognizing emotion, and communicating that emotion. These are all things that we can do both in and out. So this is a really important piece to think about as we start thinking about our self-care journey. It's really easy to sort of be judgmental towards ourselves, or what perspective are we taking and what is our truth and how do we make sure that we're really honoring our truth? Because if we're not able to honor our truth, we're likely not going to be able to honor someone else's in the truth and authenticity in which it was meant to be. So in that spirit, what I would like to offer is today we're going to have an opportunity to split you guys into small groups. And I, in a moment, but not yet, I will pass the mic over to Adam and he will explain how this will all happen. Thank you, Adam, who's our fantastic co-pilot, making everything happen in the background, human being, without whom we would all be, I don't know, I would probably be outside somewhere right now. So thank you very much. What we're going to ask is, I will have everyone, I'm going to summon you all. Hang tight. Fantastic. So what we're all going to ask is we are going to put you into breakout rooms. And our goal today is we really want you to have a conversation with your peers about your experience of self-care. What does it look like for you? How does it show up for you? What are things that you say you do for self-care versus what are the things that you think you do for self-care? Versus what are the things you actually do for self-care? And what are the things you feel about self-care? Does self-care cause you a little bit of stress or cause you a little bit of excitement? What are the things that you feel around self-care? After you've had, I see there's some really wonderful engagement happening in this right now, and I really appreciate it. I am going to ask sort of hands off mics just while we explain this, because this will be someone's worksheet. So I love that you're having these thoughts and conversations already, but hang tight for 2 seconds, please. As you sort of continue to have these conversations, the last thing I want you to think of is, what role does self-care play when it comes to empathizing with others? So if that conversation starts to come up, please take some time to note it and put it in the middle. The goal is to have these conversations and to record them on different sticky notes in the different sections as you record them, and really just be open, honest, and vulnerable as much as you can with your peers. What we are going to ask is we're going to have 3 groups share back. We're going to do it totally random. So if you are comfortable to share back, we will sort of do an open call for people to volunteer to share back if they wish to. If you are going to volunteer, please have someone ready to speak. We're only going to have each group speak for about 30 seconds. So make sure to have it concise and tangible for the share back. And other than that, it's really just about promoting that conversation. So that's the goal for the next, I think we've got time for 10 to 12 minute breakout rooms, Adam. So amazing. And I'm going to pass it back over to you to make sure that everyone goes where they need to go.
All right, cool. So what I've been feverishly doing here behind the scenes is rerouting the encryption, downloading the FTPs, and bypassing the matrix. I've been sorting and sifting you guys into unique breakout rooms based on absolutely nothing except randomized order here. So everyone will be in rooms with about 4 people. So here's where the magic of the internet happens and the digital wizardry goes down. So I'm gonna click a giant red button here. It's going to assign you to a breakout room. When you'll get a notification that pops up that says join breakout room, whatever. Make sure you accept that invite. You're going to be whisked away to a private little smaller Zoom call with the other 3 people on your team. And then what you guys have to do along the right-hand side of your mural space, really important. There's the outline open. You'll see it says room 1, room 2, room 3, room 4. Do you guys see that? Can you give me a thumbs up to see if you see that space on your mural along the right-hand side? It shows a bunch of different room buttons. One person's got it. Okay. Okay, cool. As long as hopefully these thumbs up people are in rooms with people who don't know what's going on, this will work. So just to recap, I'm going to send you to a breakout room. You'll be in breakout room, say number 1. Your team will then click on room 1 on the mural. It will take you to your own little worksheet, just like the one Laura was talking to. And that's where you're going to hang out, have your little conversations, and answer the questions and work on the worksheet together for about 10 or 11 minutes. You will have a timer, so no problem. You will see the timer clicking down, and at which point, we'll suck you all back here. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to click this giant red button now. So like I said, remember, accept this invite. I'm going to open all rooms right now. Beep. Doodle, 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 doodle. Everyone's disappearing. They're being whisked away. Be free, be free. What do you want to do? 11 minutes, 10 minutes? 10 minutes. I'll wait till everyone's gone. Oh, we're going to have a perfect score. Come on, everybody, accept your invites. You can do it. Otherwise, you're just going to hang out back here with us. We're just going to talk about trigonometry and our different canning techniques for beet recipes.
Have you guys made any beets, actually?
Brittany makes a mean pickled beet. All right, guys, are you with us? Make sure to click your accept your invite so you go to your group. Oh, yeah, we're almost there, guys. Only a few more. You can do it. Okay, I'm going to start the timer. Awesome. Timer initiate. 2 people.
They can do it. You guys can do it. Just hit accept.
Accept your little invite. I know it's hard if you're calling in on your phone or your tablet. Sometimes it looks different, whatever that little pop-up window looks like. And you know what? I understand too. Sometimes you're just on the call and want to hang out at the big kid table.
Adam, will you send them a new invite to see if, oh, and do you want to press pause on the recording?
I will pause the recording.
Being married, and how does self-care show up for you in your, yeah, awesome. I love it. And how does self-care show up for you in your daily practice? And how might it be different when you see, think, feel, or do with self-care? So is there any student, any room that would like to share some of their insights from their conversation? I personally love the chat situation right now. It's making my heart go happy. So thank you all. Anyone? Rachel.
I'll just add a little bit, I guess. For me personally, I feel like it's hard to find time for self-care. And I feel like I want to do, like I understand the benefits and I understand how important it is, but it's really hard to find that time sometimes. So just taking even the little things, like going for a walk or I do yoga every once in a while as well, just little things. But I guess with full-time school and on the computer all the time and a full-time job, it's like really hard to find that time. But I do understand how important it is to fill in those times, especially when you have a busy schedule and you can be burnt out. But yeah, I don't know. I think more negatively towards it than I would want to, just because I don't have the time, or I don't quite practice enough self-care, I guess.
Yeah, I thank you so much for sharing. I recognize that because with this many people on the call and we're talking about self-care, sometimes that can be a bit tough. So thank you very much for sharing and for sharing your experience. And I love the concept that, you know what, it just comes down to time. And then time becomes this sort of big, sorry, I've got 2 dogs wrestling behind me. So they just want to be involved in the conversation too. But yeah, this concept of time, and then time adds this stress and this negative energy towards self-care as this other thing we need to do, instead of really actually looking at it as like, by practicing self-care, this is what I'm going to get at it. That like sort of cost benefit analysis, we this added pressure of time and fitting it in. So really, really appreciate that insight. And I really can recognize how hard it is to build a routine around self-care when there's so many important priorities in our life.
And I'd like to add that I love that. Well, I totally agree. Time can really be a barrier sometimes. I can appreciate that you still were able to identify some things that you do to practice self-care and take care of yourself, like yoga, going out for a walk. So I think it's really important to recognize that you do have activities that you really do appreciate doing for yourself. And when you can make the time for it, that's really great. And just kind of recognizing it. And then sometimes you'll learn with time other activities that work well for you. Like we talk about how time management can even be a way to practice self-care, but you would never probably really resonate with that. So anyways, I just wanted to recognize and appreciate that while you're saying time is a challenge, you still are coming into this space, naming some things that you do to take care of yourself, which is really great.
Thanks. Yeah, I didn't mention my glasses of wine, but I can keep it on the down low.
Oh, yeah, no, it's a huge part of it too, right? And I love that. I see we've got a bit of a hand up here too, so I want to honor that as well. But it's the concept, and Kate and I have talked about this in length, but the concept that sometimes doing homework is self-care. By actually like looking at, which I know sounds crazy and you're all like, oh my gosh, Laura, you're nuts, which I recognize that I can be, but sometimes actually like making a schedule and committing to do the thing that you don't want to do so you can create time and space in your life for other things and not procrastinating is a form of self-care. And it's really taking that time to say, what is self-indulgent versus what is true self-care? So I really, really appreciate that lens. I'm not sure, Adam, did you see who the hand up was? I think it's gone now.
It was me.
Oh, perfect.
I just wanted to add that I have a hard time prioritizing self-care. Like if I say I have half an hour, I could do some yoga, but I'm going to do this instead, or making poor decisions on self-care time.
Yeah, it's so important, and that prioritization piece can be so hard. And I think that is truthfully where people sit, and that struggle that people have. It's not so much about, I don't know how to practice self-care, or I don't know what I could do to practice self-care. It's, I don't know how to prioritize it. And when it comes down to it, sometimes I might choose to procrastinate instead of prioritize what makes me feel good. Procrastinate what I don't want to, because that is, it comes down to that self-indulgence piece, like watching Netflix and procrastinating doing something is sometimes just the feel good in the moment easy option. opposed to that long-term sustainable outcome. So we all know that balance of like, what do we do to make us feel good in this moment right now versus how do we build a routine around maintaining self-care and self-love as a priority throughout our life. So yeah, I so appreciate that lens, and it's such an important one. And I would offer just being gentle and kind with yourself as you move through it, because it is a process, it's a practice. We talk a lot about hard skills. Like if I asked everyone on this call right now to go outside and do a perfect, is the word slam dunk, you can tell I'm not a basketball player. It's slap shot, that's the better one, I'm better with hockey. Everyone would be like, Laura, I need to practice, I need to learn this skill. Some people might have it, but that comes from years of practice and potentially some natural inclination towards the sport. But there would be this great understanding that we don't learn these things in 14 seconds. But for some reason, when we come to soft skills and we come to these practices, we don't have that same kindness around learning the practice and being patient with the growth. So what I would offer is to think of these, building these routine as a practice and being gentle with yourself when you don't get it perfect every time. Is there anything self-care safe? Yeah, thank you so much, Dave. I think it's, it's amazing the power self-care can have when we build those routines. Is there anything else anyone would like to offer, add before we switch over?
I would like to say something. Like for self-care, especially with empathizing others, before you can empathize with other people, you have to make sure your needs are met. So you have the ability to show that you can empathize. So we cannot share resources with others that we lack in ourselves.
Yeah, thank you. I cannot say anything except yes, absolutely, you are bang on. It comes to that empty cup metaphor. If we are not spending the time to make sure that our cup is being filled, it doesn't have to always be full because that's unrealistic, but we always have to be working at making sure our cup doesn't go dry. You cannot pour from an empty cup. So making sure that we're pulling those resources in so that we can pull them out. It's not about just giving them out. We can't give them if we're not sort of receiving them. So a really, really important lens. Quick, tiny little thing I'll share. I know we're short on time, but a couple weeks ago, Adam, we had the pleasure of going to talk to the fire career prep class, one of the fire students, and they brought up this concept of showing empathy at a call. It was an amazing conversation. And then it came down to, okay, one of the students just asked, how do I show empathy and also take care of myself? And it was just such an important groundbreaking moment for those students about sometimes, even if we are in a profession, like a human services profession, where our entire sort of career is based around giving to others, it is essential that we make sure that we're still giving to ourselves so that we can give to others. So thank you so much for that lens. We've got 6 minutes left, so I'm going to pass it back over to Kate to bring us home. If you guys have any questions, comments, want to add anything more about this, please feel free to plop it in the chat and we'll make sure to honor that contribution.
Awesome. Thank you all for participating in the chat out loud over the call here. It does require you to be quite vulnerable to come out and share. So we really do appreciate that. So in this last, what we just want to close with and provide you with to kind of just take away here at the end is an intention. So you'll find, and I don't know, Adam, are you able to summon them to that, or did you already? Amazing, because I, like many of you, am also learning mural. So what I'm asking you to do is you'll see these different intention cards here, and my mural just booted me out. So let me just go back. But so pick an intention card that really connects to you. Like you look at it and you really can and find yourself relating to that. And then on the sticky note below the intention card, write your own intention that you're going to remind yourself of throughout the rest of the week. So it's Wednesday. We're asking you to do it for 2 more days of this week. And that's basically what this exercise is. So take some time, these last 4 minutes, to really connect to one of these cards. And just to kind of provide some context for what setting intentions can do. Setting intentions can really help us to guide our efforts. It reminds us of why we're choosing to take time for ourselves. So if you ever need a reminder of why we should be practicing empathy and why we should be practicing self-care, setting intention can be something that really helps guide us to do that and carve out that time. It strengthens our compassion, helps ground us, really just provides us with the time and the space to live more mindfully. And for those of you who may be familiar with mindfulness, that's a practice that's really, really great for our well-being. And while practicing a mindfulness meditation may not be for you, setting an intention is a way to practice living more mindfully. So this might be something you enjoy. So I see people are doing that here. We have some under empathy. I'm not going to read them out because they're your own intentions. So I'll leave those there. People can obviously see them, but I'm not going to name them out loud. But we have empathy. So practicing empathy, being patient, exploring my limits, celebrate, and embrace stress. Those are the cards that are already set there. So I see people have connected with those cards and have really set their own intentions. So thank you so much for participating in that and carving out some time for you right now in these last few minutes to really just ground yourself. And I hope that you'll continue to do that for the last couple of days of this week.
Amazing, Kate. Thank you so much for bringing these to our practice. The thing I always like to offer with intention cards is that they are meant to bridge the gap between learning and action. We can have this conversation all day long about empathy and self-care, and we can intellectually learn it, but what does that do if we are not sort of taking that learning into action? So the concept of setting intentions is, how do I act on this learning that I just had? So thank you all so much for engaging with that and holding one of those cards with you and creating your own intention for it. A little sort of plug, as we've got 2 minutes left. There's just been so much gratitude in the chat here, which I've been chatting with lots of you about. So I would really like to take all of that and throw that back at each one of you. I'm so grateful for all of you today for choosing this hour to be with us to have this conversation. These sessions are only as engaging as you guys make them. So being able to be here to show up and to engage with this topic is a choice that you all made, and one that me, Kate, and Adam, I know I can speak for them, are incredibly grateful for you today. If you would like to know more about this topic, please don't hesitate to reach out. Adam can put our emails in the chat. Myself, I work for the Center for Changemaking and Social Innovation. Kate works for the Center for Mental Health and Wellbeing. Adam works with me at the center. So feel free to reach out to any one of the three of us at any point during your journey, and we can help guide and sort of help you through in any way that we possibly can. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of Changemaker and Residency Week. The three of us will stay on for an extra sort of 5 to 10 minutes to make sure to answer questions. But other than that, I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week. And thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks, everyone. It's nice connecting with all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Like right on time, like 4 o'clock.